This is teaching for women. So in 2 Thessalonians 2, it talks about that there is going to be a man of perdition that will sit in the people's temple, that will call himself God, that will opposite himself of Jehovah. And the man of perdition is already at work. Christians think that Satan, when it says that Satan will deceive the whole world, they think that that is a future event. Like it hasn't happened yet. The Messiah tells you and warns you that there's going to be many Messiahs that come after him that will deceive many. If it were possible, even the elect. And he tells you and warns you in John 5 that there's going to be another Messiah who will come in his own name that people will receive. Christians don't take note of 2 Thessalonians 2 that it says that the man of perdition is already at work. There will be a falling away first, falling away apostasy. And this man that will be revealed will be sitting in the temple. The Bible tells us that Jehovah doesn't dwell in temples made by hands, right? We are the temple now. So this man of perdition who will come in his own name will be sitting in these people's temples saying that he is God. There's a bunch of prophecy that Jehovah's people will forget his name for the name Baal. They will be blaspheming his name daily. They'll forget his name by their dreams. These false prophets who prophesy that Jehovah did not sin in Jeremiah 23, who prophesy and tell everyone and their neighbor so that they forget Jehovah's name for the name Baal. And he says that there's going to be a group of people that will know his name and will be howling because they blaspheme his name daily. This is Isaiah 52. His people will know his name. So, who is this false Messiah that didn't come in the Father's name, who came in his own name, that sits in the people's temple, who says he's God? Well, you see the Christian church oppositing themselves of Jehovah, filling their vessels with swine's flesh and broth of abominable things, doing pagan idolatry. They cut a tree out from the forest, bring it in their house, nail it down so it doesn't topple over with hammer and nails, and deck it with silver and gold, Jeremiah 10. Their modern day Christmas, worshiping this Messiah with their hands, who they say is God, who they've asked into their hearts. Ephesians 2 tells you that the children of disobedience have a different spirit working in them after the lusts of this world, the prince of this world. The children of disobedience who the wrath is appointed to. The Son came in the Father's name. The Father's name is Jehovah. The Son's name is Yahushua, Jehovah's salvation, or Yeshua, Yah's salvation, who told us he could do nothing of himself but what the Father had shown him to do. He didn't come to do his own will, but the Father's will. He gave glory to the Father. He said, my God and your God. He said that he's the Son of God. In John 5, as he speaks to the people, he says to the people, they have neither seen the Father or heard his voice at any time. And John 17, he prayed for the people that he kept in the Father's name, Jehovah, that they would be like one man as he was one with Jehovah. For those who love him and keep his commandments in John 14, those are who he prays to the Father to send them another comforter, the Spirit of truth, that the world cannot receive, neither knows or seeks any longer. Because 1 John chapter 2, verse 3 and 4, this is how we know him, when we keep his commandments. And those who say they know him and keep not his commandments are liars, and the truth is not in them. The Spirit of truth that dwells in those people, so that they know that Yeshua's word, I am in them, right? He will abide with them, like the Father abided with him, for he was filled with the Spirit without measure. What the prophecy by the prophets in Deuteronomy 18, that Jehovah would speak through his Son and give us commandments that Jehovah would require of us, that he fulfilled in Matthew 22. Love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Deuteronomy chapter 6, what he quoted verbatim, to keep the commandments in your hearts, and it will be your righteousness, and love your neighbor as thyself. Leviticus 19:15-18, to do no unrighteousness and judgment. Don't judge by self-righteousness, but the righteousness of God. The 10 Commandments, rebuke your neighbor when you see them sin, so they don't suffer sin upon them. Love the neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. And when you love him and keep his commandments, he prays to the Father to send you another comforter, the Spirit of truth, that will teach you all things and bring all things to remembrance. So you need no man to teach you, 1 John chapter 2, verse 27, because he says, let no man deceive you. What's the sign of the end? His disciples asked him, do not be deceived. You can tell who the children of disobedience are by your Messiah's words. He says in John 5:42, I know you don't have the love of God in you. 1 John 5, for this is the love of God, to keep the commandments. This is how you love the children of God, when you keep his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous, those that he abides with. He prayed for them. He kept them in the Father's name, Jehovah. The 144,000 have the Father's name written on their foreheads. They didn't forget Jehovah's name for the name Baal, Jesus. They don't call the Son. They don't worship with their hands. They don't opposite themselves of Jehovah. They keep the commandments. They love their neighbor by teaching their neighbor to keep the commandments. They don't fill their vessels with swine's flesh and abominations. They glorify the Father as the Son glorified the Father. But there's going to be these people that will be deceived. Daniel 11:30, Satan has intelligence with them because they forsake the holy covenant, the 10 Commandments. Who is saying that Jesus is God? Who has asked Jesus into their hearts, who they worship with their hands, decking their tree with silver and gold, preparing a feast with swine's flesh, their Christmas ham and broth of abominable things, standing behind one tree? Isaiah 66. And Isaiah 65, who's saying, stand by thyself, Judge not or be judged. I'm holier than thou. Christians, you need to wake up. The Son came in the Father's name. It is not Jesus, a transliterated man-made name where they removed letters and added letters. That's not the Son's name. The Son is not God. John 17. I've heard this just this other day. They try to use John 17 to say that Yeshua said he is God. They're like one. When Yeshua himself told you in John 14 how to be like one with them, who he prayed for to be like one, like he was one with Jehovah in spirit and in truth. So if you worship in spirit and in truth and you receive the Holy Ghost, does that make you God? John 1 tells you that Yeshua is the light of the world. In Genesis, it says there was God and there was nothing. Jehovah and nothing. And then Jehovah spoke and he said, let there be light. He was the first of creation because Yeshua is the light of the world. And he created all things through him, his Son. And he says, let's make man in our image. So the Son was there from the beginning. When his Father created everything. He was the first of creation. That doesn't make him God. The Father is in him and the Father, just like he will abide with us if we love him and keep his commandments. He will be in us. That does not make us God. But he prayed for us to be like one man, in spirit and in truth, walking in the righteousness of God, so that we can also be light to the world. Stop blaspheming his name and calling him by Baal, the man of perdition, that opposite himself of Jehovah. You've accepted the man of perdition in your hearts. You're the children of disobedience. You have the spirit of error. If you're not keeping the 10 Commandments, you're not keeping his Sabbath day, dawn Saturday to dawn Sunday. You're not loving your neighbor per scripture in James 2, the royal law. Fulfill the royal law, you do well. You need to learn to do well. Loving your neighbor, giving them the gospel, the righteousness of Jehovah, so they can also enter into life. Matthew 19, what his Son preached, what his Son gave us in Matthew 22, to love God and love your neighbor, keeping the commandments of God and teaching your neighbor to do so. Matthew 5, so you can be great in the kingdom of heaven. Not least, greats. For those who have right to the tree of life and are able to enter into the gates to the kingdom are those who are blessed, who do his commandments, who obey the Son. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 9. Christian women, you do not know you've already been deceived. You trust in your Jeremiah 23 pastors. You do not understand that the man of perdition is already at work, that there already has been a falling away. The churches have gone apostate, as 2 Timothy chapter 3 and 4 tell you. The churches will not endure sound doctrine in the end, but have gathered around themselves teachers having itching ears, and will be turned onto fables. And that is why the wrath of God comes to this world. Tribulation. Repent to the 10 Commandments. Start eating clean. Stop doing abominations. Christmas and Easter. Mixing the profane with the holy. Stop going to churches. Revelations 18, he commands you to come out of her, the whore and her harlots, the churches, and do not partake in her adulteries, or you will suffer her plagues, tribulation. For the wrath of God, judgment comes to the house of God first, the churches. Because these pastors know Christmas and Easter, these holidays that they are bringing into the house that they say they built for God and God's people, are pagan. They don't even deny it. They fulfill Jude chapter 1 verse 4. They've turned the grace of God into lasciviousness, your undeserved favor. They don't teach you, Titus 2, that the grace of God that has appeared to all men teaches you to deny ungodliness, sin, which is breaking the 10 Commandments, and lusts of this world, so you can live soberly without pride and righteously, keeping the righteousness of God that will be your righteousness if you do them in Deuteronomy chapter 6, your Messiah's first and great commandments. Because it's divine influence upon your heart and the reflection of life. The word charis, G5485, grace, is Jehovah's conviction upon your heart. It causes you to labor, to love your neighbor, to go find his lost sheep, to rebuke with all long-suffering and authority, so that you let no man despise you. So that you will endure. You need to come out of the church.